Welcome to another episode of the Armchair Crew Chief. My name is Jordan. This is our mid-off-season update. We're going to go over some of the awards that happened on November 30th. Some announcements that happened this week. Last week I was trying to go over some stuff, but unfortunately I got strep throat, so podcast did not happen, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and dive into some things here that we're going to discuss. So, just going over the award ceremony, we have our road course driver of the year, who was Tyler Reddick. Our super speedway driver of the year, our champion this year, Ryan Blaney. Intermediate driver of the year was William Byron. Our short track driver of the year was Denny Hamlin. Most improved driver was William Byron. Most valuable driver was William Byron. And then our most popular driver was, no surprise here, my opinion, I don't think he should have gotten it. Just because of how things happened, he didn't race a lot and so on. I would have liked to see somebody else win it, but Chase Elliott won it. Unfortunately, and he's just the most popular driver, even though he's not putting out a good quality product right now. People like him. I think it's kind of like I hate to say it, but like Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think Dale Jr. would have been better in a different team. That's another story for another time. But to kind of just go over everything, yeah, he won most popular driver yet again. I was hoping to see some of these other guys come out and win it, especially guys that were actually up there competing and everything. So let's next dive into some of the driver changes that have happened and that are happening. So Joe Gibbs, yesterday, the 13th of December, came out and announced their Xfinity Series lineup for next year. We already kind of knew Sheldon Creed, he's going to be in the 18. Chandler Smith in the 81. Eric Almirola, the big surprise, and I'm not counting the fact that Joe Gibbs introduced him at a Washington Commanders game as he drives for me. But Eric Almirola and John Hunter Nemechek both will be driving the 20 and splitting that. And then the 19 with Ryan Truex. I was looking at Joe Graff Jr. And William Sawalich will be piloting the 19 with Taylor Gray. So we have that lineup there with Joe Gibbs. Another big change that we're going to be seeing is Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be running full-time Xfinity Series while running some select Cup races. He's going to be running the Coke 600 and just to name a few, Circuit of the Americas and so on. He's moving over into the United States auto racing scene and see if he can kind of climb up and go. He's going to be sponsored pretty much by WeatherTech, but he's going to be running out there, and he's also going to be running Talladega, both Talladegas, the Chicago Street Race again, Watkins Glen, and Las Vegas are his other Cup races. So he's got Circuit of the Americas, as well as Charlotte Motor Speedway on May 26th, Coke 600, and then the other ones I just listed. Those are going to be his Cup races while he runs a full-time Xfinity Series. We had Jason Burdett, I think his name is. He has been tapped to be the crew chief for the 84 car whenever Jimmy Johnson's going to be running. AJ Allmendinger's moving back down to the Xfinity Series program next year. That was kind of expected. It was one of the. It's not really a surprise. I think they should be going for championship hunting instead of trophy hunting this time. I know AJ has been going out there and saying, we're trophy hunting. We're trying to go get the wins. But I think this time it's for him to go out there and try to get a championship. We have some news also that Noah Gragson has officially signed. Rumor has it, and everybody says that he was going to do it, but we have it official now that he's going to be running the 10 car for Stewart-Haas. I think that's a big move for him. I think that's a big a big change from running the 42 last year. I think he has the talent to do it. He just needs to get the equipment under him, and let's see what happens under the 10 car after however many races go through. But that's one of the big changes. That's the big news. Anthony Alfredo is going to be driving the number 5 5 car for Our Motorsports and Xfinity next year. We also have Thad Moffitt is going to be running full-time in the Truck Series. He's the grandson to Richard Petty, and Richard Petty was talking about creating a new team, Truck Series team, to run that through. We have Timmy Hill returning back full-time in 2024. Grant Enfinger is going to be signing with CR7, or he has signed with CR7 Motorsports for a multi-year deal, so he's got his new team. One of the people that we haven't heard too much about, and I don't know how it's going to happen, but Matt DiBenedetto, we haven't heard from him yet. We don't know what's going to happen with him and how that's going to play out. So that's something to keep an eye out. Cody Ware got reinstated by NASCAR. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. His charges, all of his charges pretty much got dropped. Whether, I'm not going to speculate or say anything, but, his charges got dropped on that. So he's back in the NASCAR. A lot of news that has happened since we've last talked on this podcast. Just some people changing, some things that we have speculated and we talked about on this podcast in the past that are actually confirmed now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward when we get to the Coliseum and run that, and then we get into Speed Week now and see how everything else plays out. We also have the Ziegler Auto Group is going to be partnering with Spire Motorsports for Carson Hocevar's 77 car in the Cup Series. Joey Logano is getting the torch passed from him from Kevin Harvick for Hunt Brothers. So you're going to see Hunt Brothers on the 22 this year. We did see our first look of the Busch Light car for Ross Chastain. It looks pretty slick in my opinion, but we'll see what happens there. Some other changes that have been happening. I think this is more or less to kind of help cars from getting airborne. What happened with Ryan Preece back at the night race at Daytona. They have actually paved the back stretch, so there's no more grass in the back. See if that'll help reduce out any of these accidents that happen and so on. So that's a big change going forward, and we'll see what happens. This ought to be wrapping up our 2023 season NASCAR podcasts. I hope to catch you guys back next year. We'll start off in January, probably towards the end, discussing what's going on with the upcoming season and everything going on. I'm still trying to see if I can get some people lined up to discuss and talk on this podcast. If you guys have any comments, questions, anything you'd like to see different on the podcast, feel free to message me. Please like, share. Let's get this podcast out and make it bigger than it is. And I hope you guys have a great holiday, great Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys on the other side in 2024. Short podcast, just a quick recap, and you guys have a good one now.